Hey everybody, welcome to the stream. I'm Tim, your host, and today we are going to be doing some FileMaker scripting. We have a few people who've been watching the show regularly, and they've kind of chimed in about problems that they're having, things that aren't quite working out, just a plethora of different things. So today we're going to kind of answer that. We're going to go through a bunch of stuff. We're going to show you how to add security, and we're going to show you what it takes to make a second register. So that's kind of a big thing today. We're going to work pretty hard at making this all happen in a short period of time. So please stay tuned and stay with us as much as you possibly can, so that and pay attention, pay attention, because it gets a little crazy. So this morning, what we're going to do is we are currently on kind of right where we left off last time. We had beautified it. We made it all really nice. But what we have here, and I'm just going to kind of bring this into view for you guys, is we have this script that someone sent to me, and they said, hey, this is my script and this is the problem that I'm having with it. And the problem that we're having with it is that it's duplicating items that you put on there. So it's just like ding, 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 ding. And of course, this is very much based off of, and that's one of the cool things, and something I really wanted to show you guys, is that here, he has added in this particular, and this is Thomas, by the way. So Thomas, hey, shout out to you, buddy. Thank you very much for sending this to me. What he has in here, and this is brilliant. Of course, I haven't in my other one. We just haven't gotten as far as to add that here. But if you look here on line 20, right where I'm at, what he's basically saying is that if the inventory is lower, if the inventory is less than, let's say the inventory is less than his inventory baseline. So what he did was he put in a baseline. He said if this runs below 5 or whatever. So, and it's very common to use this, but it's very brilliant to use this too. So what he did is, in his master script, that's where we are. I guess I'm getting ahead of myself, but in his master script, so he takes a product, and then he goes to the inventory, and then he takes that product out of the inventory. Now, if the quantity of the inventory drops below a certain point, and he set that point by saying, here's a box, and in this box, we don't want less than 5. If we have less than 5, we need to know it. So what he did was, here he put in there that if the inventory is less than his minimum that he has set, then he's going to set a status box. He's going to set another field that's in his inventory to say the word low, so that he can automatically identify that. Very, very, very wise, very bright thing to do. And that if it's not, that, so if he adds inventory to the system for some reason, or later on down the road he adds inventory to the system, and then he sells a product, it'll automatically erase the low. So, and that's what his very next if statement says, that if the inventory is greater than or equal to the minimum quantity that he's stated for each box, then to set the field at just quotation marks, which zeroes it out. So I have noticed some things in his, he's very, this is almost identical to mine. So there's a couple of things on here. He has like pause off, and what else did I see? I saw something else in here. Go through here really quick. So enter fine mode, pause off. That we need to get rid of. Just get rid of it. If you just click on it, there's like a thingy there. You can just click on it and then just don't even worry about it. But this is also, he's dealing with FileMaker 12, so it may need to have that on there, and that's just fine. But there was another one in here that I was, here, it says commit records request with dialog on. We can't have the dialog on. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to get this out of the way. Just get it out of the way so we don't have to see it. In his other, ooh, I just messed that up pretty good. So in the rest of his, and here it goes all the way down to the very bottom. So he has basically 41 lines, and he ends with this script thingy. and he says go to the original layout, and then he says clear select the menu quantity button, which is fine, but I don't recommend doing that. I don't recommend the clear select menu quantity button right here. What I suggest doing is, instead of using the clear button, because how can I best explain this to you? So a lot of the times when you use the clear command, it messes up your system. It totally messes up your system. So don't use the clear command. Do not use the clear command. So what you need to do with this one is you need to go back up here to this line 10 where it says if is not empty, the MPS OS quantity, blah, 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 set a variable, right? So you're going to set the variable. Once you've got the variable, you've got it in your hand, it doesn't matter what you do with it now, because now you have it. It's in your hand. It's not going to escape. So right after this, right after line 11, I would add a line there that says set field, and then set that field to quotation marks. That will clear the field all of a sudden. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about clearing it. So don't use the clear, especially on FMP 12, 13, and 14. I use 14. I use 14 Pro Advanced, and I did use, in my original things, I did use a lot of the scripting helpers like clear a field. Do not use the clear. Just take my advice. It may work once or twice. It may work 80% of the time. It may work 99% of the time. But it's that 1% of the time that's going to leave you wanting and wishing that you did not use the clear button. So don't use it, or don't use the clear command. That's what I mean. So get rid of that and put it up right where I just told you to put it up, Thomas. And therefore it will zero it out. There will be nothing there at the end. Okay. So, but very, very, very good script writing. So let's go to. I'm gonna just exit out of these because I don't need them anymore. I don't need to show you them anymore. You guys have already seen them. So let's go to the edit the layout and let's manage our scripts. And here we are automatically, all of a sudden, right on. Of course, this is probably not going to be as big as his was, but we're in the master button. And as you can tell, there's 30. I have 35 because I didn't add that thing that he did. But we will do that in a future video, and I'm going to show you guys just exactly how to do that, because that is a very good way of keeping track of your inventory. If you have a lot of inventory and you want to know when your inventory is low, now there's two ways to do it. You can script it if you want to, or you can also go into set a parameter, set a what am I looking for? Not a script parameter. Anyway, so if it's in a field, let me close this. Well, never mind. Let's just skip that, and I'll come back to that in just a minute. So here we are. Here's mine. So my script, if you notice, it says, so we're just going to walk through it really fast with you guys. Let's just walk through it really fast, and then you guys will kind of understand. So here it says set. The very first thing we're going to do is we're going to freeze the window so that no one else can see what's going on. We're going to set the variable, the code bot, at the script parameter. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to get that little script parameter which identifies the button itself. And we're going to grab a hold of that, and we're going to set that as a variable. And then we're going to set the field, the code bot. We're going to put that parameter inside of the code bot. So we've locked it in there. Now it's not going to escape from us, right? It's stuck. And then we're going to set a variable, and this is the number lock. So this is the variable is actually the invoice number, which, remember, we carried over. And the only time we change the invoice number is when you press the cash button or the credit button or the split pay or the new. So when you need to create a new invoice, you'll create a new invoice, and then this will keep track of those invoices. Number lock is a big thing. I cannot stress it enough. I'm always receiving notes. People are constantly sending me messages, and they're like, Tim, this is what I did, and this is how I did it, and you know, it's so much easier if you just do it this way. you're absolutely correct. Every single one of you, God bless you all, you guys are absolutely correct. It is easier to do it that way. The problem that I had was I started off doing it that way. And then after running my solution for a month or 6 months or a year, guess what? It messed up, because those steps that you took, the easier it is to do, the more likely it is to break. That's just what I've discovered. If you take your time and you learn what, FileMaker is not perfect. It's very, very glitchy. You guys will hear me say that all the time. I say that a lot about FileMaker. FileMaker is very, very glitchy, and it's really hard to control. So what you have to do is you have to take all of the stuff that's glitchy and kind of throw it to the side and say, I'm not going to use that anymore. So, and obviously I'm going off on a tangent, and I don't mean to do that, but so let's go back. So this number lock is a big, big, big deal. It makes absolutely positive that you're not going to just take your information and put it on the wrong invoice, which happens a lot, believe you me or not. But this thing stops that from happening altogether. And then we're going to set our variable, our product ID, from the code bot. So that's what we're doing, is we're setting that product ID. See how that works? Our button is set to the product ID number. Pretty smart. And so what happens is you take that product ID number, which is the script parameter, and you put it in CodeBot, and then you re-grab it, you reclassify it as the product ID number, and you put it back into your script. Now I've discovered that you can skip a step there, and you can skip a step there, but not a good idea. And the reason why I'm saying that's not a good idea is because if you don't walk through those steps, if you don't take those steps exactly the way that I've put them down in this particular script, what will happen is sometimes it'll just grab and hold on to a script parameter that is the wrong script parameter or the wrong product ID, and before you know it, you've got your system is going haywire, and it's putting 50 billion things on your invoices, and you're going, what is going on? Okay, so we're going to set the variable, and then as the right here, we're going to set the variable as a product ID. We're going to set a field, the CodeBot field. We're going to just blank it out. Remember, we've got the variable. We don't care what's in the field anymore, so we're just going to go ahead and blank it out. Let's just get rid of it right now and not have to worry about it. Now, if is empty, and this is a kind of a necessary thing, because if you don't add a quantity, then we're just going to have the value is going to equal 1, just 1. But if it's not empty, if you did put something in this quantity window right down here, where my mouse is, if you did put something in there, then it's going to grab that and it's going to use that as a quantity. And then here, like I said, on line 12, I used set field menu quantity quotation marks. That way it just it clears the field. The clear command, I hate that clear command. So don't use it. Please do not use the clear command. So we're going to go ahead and set the field to quantity. Then we're going to end. Now we're going to go to our inventory admin, because we set our admin under inventory admin, which is fine because that's our primary, but we don't have to. We can use any inventory that we want to. This one was just easier to do that. So we're going to enter after that we're going to enter the find mode, and notice there's nothing after where I wrote enter find mode. Now if you click on this, you can select pause, or you can select specify find request. I don't like to do either one of those. Just enter the find mode, no pause on, no pause off, no nothing. Just enter the dang find mode. And then we're going to set the field as the product ID, and then we're going to perform the find. Now, if you guys go to, let's say you just ran the script and then you go to your inventory, well, guess what happens? If you go to your inventory after that, you're only going to have one thing in your inventory, because you have to tell it to show all records after the fact. So after we perform the find and we set all the variables, and we because here, what do? We set a variable. So we grabbed the sale price, we grabbed the product name, and then we're going to set this field. So this field is our amount, the quantity that we actually have on stock. So, and we called it location 1, remember? So if location 1 is less than the sale amount, or no, it doesn't say if. The location minus the sale amount. So if there's 10 of them in there and we took 5 of them and the quantity was 5 of them, then yeah, then we will take out, you know, how many ever we sold. And then we're going to commit the records request. And notice there's nothing after the commit the records request. All it says is commit records request. Now you can have, if you click on this little wheel, you can skip data entry, perform without dialog, and override ESS locking conflicts. All of those ended up, I've used all of them, and they end up adding more problem to my solution than solution to my solution. It's so much easier just to leave it like that. Now, at this point, what you could do, if you wanted to, is we could add another thing here. We could go up in here, and if you do show, it'll say show all records. And what show all records is, and we're just going to add it in here, what show all records does is it reverses the find. You don't have to add it in there. It's completely unnecessary to add it in there, because the only time that you access your inventory is when you actually go to your inventory. But if you want to go to your inventory and it's always full, there's all of your stuff is always listed in your inventory, then you can just add this show all records after the fact, and then what it'll do is it'll show all of the records that are in your inventory instead of just the one that you just manipulated, that you just took off. And so now we'll go to our layout, and our layout is the invoice on the register side. So we're going to go to our invoice, and now we're going to say, hey, if the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to say if our invoice doesn't match the invoice number that we've already got in our hot little hand, then let's enter the find mode, and we're going to set the field, and we're going to perform a find. And notice there's nothing after enter find mode or perform find. And then we'll end the if. We're going to go to the portal row, the very last one. We're going to set all of our fields. We're going to commit our record request. Just commit the record request. Go to our original layout and then halt the script. Now, one of the problems that Thomas was having was, so I'm just going to click here on the white and Control S to save that, because I did make a minor adjustment to it. So if your system is putting way too much product on your thing, or it's repeating itself, you either don't have the halt script on the bottom. The halt script stops everything. Now there was an issue in, I think, 11 or 12, if my memory serves me correctly. There was an issue with 11 or 12 where if you halt the script, if you just stopped it and you typed in halt script, that there was I can't remember what the issue was. So Thomas, my thing for you is probably one of the things I would do is I'd take off halt script. I would do what I just did, what you just saw in the video. Just get rid of all of those little pauses and blah 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 that you had in your script writing or in your script. Just get rid of all that stuff, because you don't need it if you can. Just try and make them as blank as possible, and then get rid of the halt script and run it and see if it works. And if it doesn't work, what we need to do then at that point is I'm going to go to my, let's exit this layout really quick. I'm going to go to candies, and then I'm going to do scripts. Now yours should be here, tools, script debugger. So you should be able to grab your script debugger and pull it off here on the side. And then what you do is you press your jawbreaker button, or whatever button you have, and it's going to automatically start coming up. And we can step up this, we can step through it. Step in. Okay. So there is our script, and we can go through the script and watch and see what it does. So freeze window, set the variable. It's gonna, see, if you notice, it's set this number as 101. See how it's set that up here? We're just gonna keep going into, see, into this script. And then we're gonna set the code bot. We're gonna set our variable. We're gonna set our field, and now our 101 disappears. And then if is empty menu quantity, which it is, it'll set the variable at 0. If not is empty, notice how it just jumped over that. Because if it is not, if it has something in it, if it's not empty, I know that's kind of weird how that goes on, but if the first line is not true, then it will automatically just jump to the end of that, end if, okay? So that's the reason why I did that. Now we're going to go to the layout, and notice how we're on admin inventory, and we're going to enter the find mode, and it's going to put in our product ID, which is 101, and then it's going to look for it, and there it is. I'm going to move this kind of right here so you guys can see what it's doing while it's doing it. And then we're going to go to the next one, and it's going to say, hey, set variable, set variable, set the inventory. So this is our set field. So, and here we don't have any buttons, so we don't really know what's going on, but, or we don't have anything that tells us what these two numbers are, but we know what they are. So here it went from 9 to 8, so it removed one of them from our inventory. That's going to commit records. And if you don't have anything on the end of it, all it's going to do is commit the records. It's going to say, the record's been changed, and we did it, and that's what we want. And so now your records are committed, so you've saved them where they are. And now we're going to tell it, show all records. Well, what's going to happen when we show all records? All of our inventory is going to come back. So now see exactly what it did is it just basically showed everything that was in there. And now we're going to go to our invoice register page, and for this I'm going to go ahead and move this back over here so you guys can see it. And by the way, Thomas, I loved your page. I loved the way that you put it together. Thomas put together a really neat little system. I think Thomas is running his entire register off of a laptop, which is totally fine. Totally fine. So here we are at this particular junction. And it's going to start setting fields now. So it's going to say if our number, if our invoice number is incorrect, then it's going to enter the find mode. So it says if invoice is not equal to the number that is in the lock. So it's possibly not in the lock, is it? Wasn't in there. So now it's going to enter the number, which is kind of funny because it was 2020 is not equal to slock, enter find mode. Invoice ID slock. Well, that's funny because it just set that to that exact one. And now we're here, ending the if. We're going to go to the portal row last. We're set the field, product name. See how it's just adding everything, and then we're going to commit the records. We're going to go to the layout, go back to our original layout, and the script stops. Now, another thing that could be happening in your script too is, let's get rid of the script debugger here. So another thing that could be happening pretty easily in your script is, the question is, do you have more than one person using the same stuff? And it's all, because it's all going to end up on the same invoice. So how you do that is, if you guys remember correctly, we went to our menu page just takes us to here. Where was it? We need me figure out what page it was. Entry menu. So we need to go to the entry menu. Here's our entry menu that is not very pretty. So let's go back to right where we were. Should have been a category page. And let's find, what did we do for the exit button? We did nothing for the exit button. So let's perform that as a single step. And the single step, we're just going to say, just type in go. And we'll just say go to layout, and then it says original layout, but we're going to touch it. Click on it. And then we're going to select the layout. And the layout that we want to go to is going to be that one that I was just on. Category page, menu 1, inventory, entry menu. So we'll click on entry menu and we'll say OK. Now at least we have the ability to get to the entry, right? So now if we go here and we exit, of course, don't forget on your other page you have to do that same thing. So exit will take you back to the main one. Now these buttons currently do absolutely nothing right now because I haven't set them up to do anything right now. But register 1, admin entry, back office, not used, not used. Okay, so let's enter this. So register 1, we're going to tell this perform a single step, and this is going to be go to a layout, and this particular layout is going to be that category layout that we were just on. So it's kind of funny, it's going to go there and then come right back, right? So category page. Okay, we're going to call that good. Now you can't do the same thing with register 2 and register 3. So how we do this is, let me just give you a very quick rundown on how you do this, okay? Now in your invoice, you can copy your invoice, but what you need to do for your invoice is you need to reselect all of the information from your invoice. So let's do this. Manage our database. Now the tables that we have is we have the invoice and the register, and remember these two are linked to each other, remember? Because if we go to our relationships page, we find that our invoice and our register are linked together, and there's inequality, an equal symbol right here in the center of it. Now the menu page is not that big a deal because it does absolutely nothing. The menu page does absolutely nothing. You don't need to duplicate a menu 2 page. You can have the same menu page, unless, of course, you can run a different thing in your menu page too. If you wanted to, I'm just trying to get comfortable, so like the passcode and the number lock and the quantity and the code bot. So let's do that really fast. Let's just go into there. So let's go into our fields for the menu, and you have date, passcode, lock. See exactly what we have. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this. We're going to type in date 2, and we want it to be a date. And we're going to create it. We're going to double click on it, and we're going to do modification and just call that good. And now it's the same as this one. Modification, except for it's date 2. You see where we're going with this? So if then we could have here pass, and I think you can duplicate them, but I would not duplicate them. Do not duplicate anything. The biggest problem that people have, and I see it all the time, everyone's like, well, I don't know what's going on. Well, guess what? You just messed up your entire system because you duplicated something and then you put it in someplace else. You want it, what you want it to do is you want it to create something new, and yet you just duplicated something to use it again. The only thing that you can duplicate is blank things. Do not duplicate things that have any information in them at all. And this passcode, I guarantee it has information in it. Just like the login box and the number lock and the quantity and the code bot, all of those and the date, all of those have information already inside of them. And if you use them, if you duplicate them, all that information comes with them. And all of a sudden, this information is going, I can't communicate with this information, and now you've got a problem. So let's not do that even at all. So let's just do our passcode and box menu. And we're going to put 2 after it, because this is register 2, right? And it is a text button. I could have just pushed Control T and been just fine with that. And we'll do a login box. We can do a login box 2. We can do a number lock box 2, a quantity box 2. The quantity, we definitely need the quantity. Quantity 2 as a number. And you would need a code bot 2. And that is also a number. Now, see how this is all working? See how this is all changing? And let me show you how we're going to do this. So we'll just go ahead and do our login box and our numlock. Login box 2. And it is a text. So I'm just going to do Control T. And then the numlock. 2, and it is also a text, so we're good there. So now we should have exactly the same thing. So, and you can change where these are at too. I can grab this date 2. I can grab it and I can move it up to underneath this date. Date 2, passcode. Passcode 2, login box 2. That way you know where they're all at and you don't have to mess with them. Number lock 2, quantity 2. So there you go. Now you have date 2, right? So you've just duplicated. You haven't duplicated. No. Wrong word. That's not what I meant to say. You didn't duplicate it, but you've created a mirror of those things. And so this is all on our menu, right? Okay. So we're gonna say okay with that because we're currently on our menu. And remember, this, you have to do this very same thing for everything except for your invoice. You have to recreate an entirely new invoice. You can't just go back and copy and paste and blah blah blah. On the invoice, you need to create an entirely another invoice and register and create the whole thing exactly the way you did the first one, except for it needs to be 2, the second one. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to our manage layouts. And right now we're on the entry menu. So let's do a category page really quick. So we're going to duplicate the category page and we're going to edit. And we're going to say category page. Two. Now in FileMaker 14 Pro Advanced, you can actually have spaces. I could have had spaces between all of this, but I tend to just leave it all together, all one word, so that it's not confusing. It just keeps things so much easier. And now it's going to show records from the menu. Now remember this, if you're copying something, that you're making sure that you're showing records from the right thing, from the right place, okay? So we just copied our category page, and now let's go to our menu 1 page, because we now have a menu 1 page too, and we can recreate a menu 1 page, right? So let's go to our menu 1 page, and we will, now remember, I'm doing this before I'm adding stuff to it. I didn't go in, I didn't add all of my product and all of my buttons. I'm doing it, I need to do it before I do it. So if you don't have that, then you go to the template one, you grab the template one, which is blank, because it shouldn't have anything on it. The template one should be blank. But in this case, I can use the menu 1 because I didn't put anything on it. I put 2 things on it, that's it. And I can get rid of those, and I don't care if those 2 things follow me for the rest of my life, which they're actually going to. But I'm going to go ahead and grab it, and I'm going to say duplicate it. And so now it says menu 1 copy, and I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to say menu 1 2. That's in the right space. So now if we close this off and we come into register 2, come on, I'm clicking on it, it's not doing anything. Open. Thank you very much. Single step. Go to, you guys know this, so we're going to go to, and this is what we're going to do for our second, and you're going to have to do the same thing if you do for a third, if you do a third register. So if you're operating more than one register, shame on you. You should not. You should operate one register on register 1, and one register on register 2, and one register on register 3. So you have to make sure, because what happens is, if you're all running off of one register, if you're all running off of register 1, and Thomas pushes a button for coffee on his thing, and Sally pushes a button for coffee, and John pushes a button for coffee, well, all of those coffees are going to end up on that same invoice, on one invoice. And unless you are zeroing it every single time, it's just going to continue to do that. So we have to stop it from doing that, right? So register 2 is going to take us to which one? The category page 2, right? So category page 2. And now if we exit the layout, and we can go to register 1, or we can exit, or we can go to register 2. But notice how these are exactly the same. So let's do this. Now remember, I didn't put anything in here, right? There's nothing in here except for the directory, or this invoice information has to change. So let's just go ahead and click on it, and we're going to just tell it to do nothing, and we're going to call that good. And this menu button should take us to this actual page, so we can just tell this to do nothing, and the exit is correct. And this button, okay, so this button, I double clicked on it, and the reason why I did is because it says specify field. That's what I want to do. Remember, this is quantity 1, so we need to change it to quantity 2. And this date, the date that we have up here, what do we need to do with the date that's up here? We need to click on it, and let's see, data, display data from, no. Where is it? How come it's not doing it? Well, let's go into numbers lock. I can do that. If you double click on it, it'll let you do it. So this one's got to be number lock 2. CodeBot. It's got to be CodeBot 2. See the changes that I'm making? The date, I don't know why the date, it won't let me do it unless it's not a field, which I think it's not a field. So I think we're okay with that. I don't think it matters the date. And there's no other boxes on here, right? There's no other things that are number 1, right? So we don't have that. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to name it miscellaneous. Miscellaneous, we don't care. And we're going to make this one down here breads. Okay. Now the cool thing is once you have your template set up, perfect. You don't have to mess with hardly anything. Notice what I just did. It took me 5 minutes to create a whole different one, right? But now if this candies button, remember what happens with the candies button? If we push the candies button, what does it do? It goes to our other one, right? So this one, single step, go to the menu one. See how this is like, this is not what we want, right? This should have been, we should have renamed it candies. So instead of saying menu 1, menu whatever, it should have said candies. So here we're going to click on it, we're going to click menu, and we're just going to go menu 1, 2. And if we double click it, it automatically sets it. So now menu 1, 2. And let's exit the layout really quick. Let's go to our candies button. And it's all the same, it's all the same, it's all the same. But here, of course, we didn't really want to mess with that, did we? Here we need CodeBot to be CodeBot 2. This is where it really comes in handy to build your template, because when you build your template, if you need extra pages, you just grab an extra page. You just be like, because it's already set. You've already got, it has nothing on it. It's a blank page. There's nothing on it other than a few minor things, right? And actually, this is actually the right one, isn't it? It is. It's the right one. Okay. So CodeBot 2, number lock. We're going to double click on number lock because it's where we need it to be number lock 2. Double click on this quantity because we need it to be quantity 2. And the date is actually a date field. It's not a field as per se, because if you click on this, it tells you right there, menu number lock 2, right at the top. It actually tells you where they're displaying data from. And if I click on date, it's not giving me that information. There's no data from anywhere. So that's the reason why I can't change it. But so now we're number lock 2, CodeBot 2, quantity 2. So everything is 2. And so with this, the jawbreaker and the soda, now we have an issue because we can't use the same program. We can't use the same master script, right? Because it's just going to add things to the first invoice, not to a second invoice. So what we have to do is we have to, in this particular issue, and I can create a new invoice, but I don't have time to do it right here, right now. But what we need to do is when we go into our scripts, we need to build another script. And the cool thing is with this, you can rewrite the whole script relatively easily because it's not that big of a deal, right? So, and you can actually copy and paste this one too. So you can copy or duplicate it and then just change it if you want to. Because I don't think there's anything in here that I have that's like totally messed up. So let's see. If I go to this master button and I click on it and then I right click on it, I can duplicate it. And now if I right click on it again, I can rename it. And I can click on the end, backspace, backspace, backspace. Just add a 2, master button 2. See where I'm going with this? Everything I'm duplicating. I'm not duplicating everything. So listen to the rest of this video before you get too crazy with it, okay? So master button 2. We now have master button 2 open. We're going to get rid of all these other ones. We're just going to kind of close them down here. Because sometimes you get like 15 scripts you got all just kind of piled up right there. We don't want to pile them up right there. So freeze window, CodeBot, value, script parameter. Is that one gonna work? Does anybody know? Is that gonna work for our new program, for our new number 2? Yes, it is. It is. So we're good to go with that. But this is not going to work because we've got menu CodeBot and it needs to be menu CodeBot 2. We can just double click on it. Then we're going to set the variable, lock variable, number lock 2. Well, that's not going to work, is it? Because we have, this just needs to be number lock 2. All we got to do is select it here and we're good to go. Set variable, product ID, menu, CodeBot. Well, that would be just wonderful, except for we're not using CodeBot 1 anymore. We're using CodeBot 2. And if you notice, when you put them together, it's so easy because it's like this one or this one. This one or this one. There's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And you could do that like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. That's how my original script was. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So they're all like in a row and they were easy to select, right? So we're going to call this CodeBot 2. We're good to go. Now we're going to set a field, and this field is going to be CodeBot. Well, that field's not going to do us any good. We don't want to erase Tom's stuff. We want to erase our stuff because we're on a whole new page. We're on a whole new area, right? So CodeBot 2, get rid of CodeBot 2. We'll erase it. Now, if is empty, menu quantity, well, that's kind of funny because if is empty, menu quantity, let's go into our function here. So if is empty, and you can actually select this part of it and just do quantity 2. If is empty, menu quantity 2. Oh, wait just a minute. You can't do that. So we're just going to type we're going to type is empty. Might as well do it correctly. Quantity 2. Quantity 2. There we go. The reason why, if you notice, I had gone too far and I can't even think of the name of it right now. But anyway, the things were in the wrong place. They were too tight. They were too tight. Can't have that. So now it is correct. And then we're going to set the variable sale amount value equals 1. That's fine. You don't have to, you know, you can still have sale amount. You can still have the same word using. So if not is empty menu quantity, well, let's go here. If not is empty menu quantity. So if we do this correctly, this time we don't outskip it. There we go. Menu quantity 2. Notice there's some space here. And it's not like right tight against it. So we got that correct. Set menu. Let's see. So here we have to go menu quantity 2. Right? See what we're doing, everybody? It's pretty easy to do. So, and then we're going to set this field, and this is obviously the wrong field, so we're going to have to set quantity 2. End it. Then go to, you can still go to the same inventory. You don't have to change this. You can go to the same inventory. You can pull from the same inventory. You can pull from the same location if that is what you want to do. So if you want to create a secondary inventory page, you can do that. All you have to do is copy it. And then just have inventory admin 2. And it'll go to inventory admin 2 if that's what you want to do. I find that the chance or the instance where you have a conflict, where you're both on the same page, register 1 and register 2, both being on the inventory page at the exact same time, could create an issue. But if you're not worried about if you're not selling things so fast and things aren't just going out the door so fast, and you're not too worried about both of them, because the instance is like 1 in 100 million, and in my store it's like 1 in 160 billion or something, of where you would, both registers would be on the exact same inventory page at the exact same time. But if you are worried about that, all you have to do is just go to your inventory page and create another inventory. Just copy it. And then you never even have to use it. Valtharian, why no stream right now? I am streaming right now. This is what I do on Monday mornings. By the way, Valtharian is talking to me on chat, so just in case you're wondering. So setting the field for the, or going to the inventory, it doesn't matter if you want to leave it on the same one. And for this particular instance, we're just going to go ahead and leave it on the same one. Although I do recommend, if you do have a lot of sales, to just recreate another one, just copy it, because the information will all be the same, but you are not going to be on the exact same page at the exact same time. Because you don't, that's one thing you're trying to avoid. We don't want register 1, we don't want Tom and Sally on the exact same page at the exact same time, because then it messes your thing up. Can't have that. It doesn't fly. You need to be completely separate. So do that. Make sure that we create that. As a matter of fact, we can click down here, Control S, and we can just exit out of this right now. We can manage our layouts, and we can create a inventory admin. I mean the other types of streams like Andro. Yes, Valtharian, Andro should be on here in about 1 hour from now. 1 hour from now, I believe. Yes, Andro is on 1 hour from right now. Yes, Cat Bros. Absolutely. Hashtag Cat Bros. So in this particular instance, what we're going to do is we're going to go to Inventory Admin, and we're just going to duplicate it. And I'm just going to leave it as a copy. So we don't have to worry about it, right? It's copy. And we'll just call that good. Now we're going to go back into manage our scripts, and if we go back into manage our scripts, it's going to be right there. It's going to be that very page that we were just on. And I hope you guys can read this. I tried desperately to make sure that you know, my frame rates and all that stuff are as high a quality as I can possibly get them, but I'm very limited by what YouTube actually allows me to do. And if you guys have advice on if it's not clear for you, if it's not, just let me know. Hey, look, soda, that's what I'm drinking. I'm drinking coffee actually right this very minute. But let me know if you guys have any ideas on how I can clean up my picture if it's not clear for you. It's clear, it's obviously clear for me. So now we're going to say, hey, we don't want to go to inventory admin layout. We're going to select a new layout, and that very new layout is going to be the inventory admin copy. There we go. Enter the find mode, set the inventory product ID field. You don't have to change any of that because those fields all are the same field. Perform find, blah, 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 set variable. Okay, so, and then here we taking out of the inventory, set another field. Yes, both have caffeine. Absolutely. Commit records request, show all records. Okay, now this is where you would need to go to your secondary register, right? And we haven't built that yet, so we're just going to go ahead and Control S this. But we will build a secondary register. We're going to build exactly the same thing as we have the first time, but we'll just do it again. And remember, when you're doing this, that you want to go to, you want to rebuild these things in such a fashion as that they look very similar to each other, if not identical to each other. You can recreate a layout. Like if you go to layouts here, I have, and what do I have? I do have the register invoice layout, security layout. I wouldn't recommend ever copying a register and an invoice or copying that I believe that the best thing to do is just recreate it. So we're now on CodeBot 2. Now, one of the things that I want to make sure that you guys understand is when you're doing this, they're both going to look identical. So how are you going to know if you're on register 1 or register 2? Well, you can create a badge, which I've done, or you can just create a large text, which I've also done. Create text, make it a 2, click off of it, make it 36, make it 48, make it a light brown color, or maybe a little different than that because that doesn't quite look quite right. Make it 2. Okay, and you can put this like anywhere in your system. So now you're like, oh look, it's a 2. It's a number 2. If you wanted to, you can create it giant and you can actually put it behind your stuff too. So you can take this, and unfortunately I don't think you can, let's do this. 72. Now it's much larger. You can take 72. You can put this bad boy over here. You put it over here if you want to. And it's not going to touch anything if you go into edit, layout. See how all of a sudden there it is in the back. So you can't you can't really mess with it, which is something that people are like, oh, look, can I mess with it? No, you can't mess with it. I don't know any of this, but my head says I do because my head keeps nodding. Oh, well, okay, Valtharian. Thank you very much. So we've kind of like, we've hidden the 2 in the background there just by default. It just automatically puts it in the background. So you can put it up here if you want to. I, a lot of times, like to change my background or change something, make it different so that it's different. But my most popular thing is to just create a badge, like in CorelDRAW or Photoshop or whatever you want to, that just has a number 2 on it, and it's just a circle with like a number 2 in there, and you're just creating a PNG file, which is just a picture, and then you just plaster that picture wherever you want. So you can put it right here behind the name of your page, and that works out beautifully because then it's permanent and it looks good, and you know you're on register 2, you know you're on register 3, you know you're on register 4. So it doesn't matter whatever way you want to identify it, and obviously you don't have to identify it at all if you don't want to, not even at all. I'm going to put mine right there. And now if I exit my layout and I go to exit, nothing happens. If I go to menu, what happens? Is this the right menu, guys? No, it's not, is it? Because now I can use my exit button. Now if I go to register 2, this is my menu button. And if I go to candies, here's my 2 to let me know that I'm on the right one, right? But no exit. I do have an invoice button, so I need to make sure that my invoice button is closed down. So we're going to tell it to just do nothing because we don't want it to go to the wrong place for now. And this menu button, we actually want it to go to the category page 2. Okay. And this button, we can just tell it to go to perform a single step. We're going to tell it to go to a layout, and the layout is going to be our as soon as I think of it, because it's an exit button, we're going to go to the very beginning one. Inventory input, register sales report. Am I missing it? Register. Admin portal security, menu 1, menu 2, inventory admin. Entry menu, that's what I want right there. Entry menu. Okay. And here I'm just like focusing so tightly on that. And now we're good to go. So now if we exit our layout, we have exit, our quantity. Why is this wrong? Oh, you know, it probably isn't wrong. It just says quantity. But I'm thinking, oh my gosh, it's quantity. It's a quantity too, but I think we changed it. So here the exit menu, no invoice, no directory yet. The directory is just a speed page. When you change exit to run. Yeah, exit will go to this page. Then you go register, exit. Register. Notice where I put breads. And then so if we go menu, oh, I didn't use the menu button because this is actually the menu button. So now if we go to candies, we've gone to this page. And we go to menu, we go right back to this page. And we exit, we go right back to this page. And then menu, now if we go to register 1, it's very, very different, right? Because now we actually have access to an invoice. And if we go to one of the other ones, can you change exit to run? No, I can't change exit to run. I can make the exit button do whatever I want to. I'm tired. I'm still stretching, man. This is my first cup of coffee I've had all dang day, let me tell you. All right, so let's get into security really fast because we now want to start dealing with security and security issues. So let's exit and we're going to manage security. Now you can do this a bunch of different ways. We can do this as going through like file, manage, security, file, security, blah, 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 blah. Your admin full access account does not yet have a password. This reduces security. Would you like to set a password? Yes. So the account name is admin, and we're going to set a password for it, and that's just 12345 because I don't really care. Confirm the password 12345. Now for you guys, you're going to add admin. You're going to add some massive whatever you want on this. You're not going to mess with you know, the security. It's going to be security. So we'll go ahead and we'll set that password. And now we're going to say we need to create a guest. So we're going to add a new account. I guess we could just say guest. I think you can just click on guest. But so the okay, we're gonna have to add a new account, and so the new account, we're gonna have user. That would be anybody, user, and we're gonna give them a password, and you can require a password change if you want to, where they're very much just themselves. But personally myself, I think that if you're going to do a user thing, the best thing for you to do is just set the password for them. And then anybody who logs on would log on under that user. Unless you wanted to have several users, which on that case you could do that as well. So these people have, and then now we also need to deal with access too. So we can't just be like, you know, you can't just have read-only access because then they can't do anything. They can't even push a button. And you can have authentication via local FileMaker file. That's probably the absolute best thing to do. So let's give them a password. So the password we're going to give them is user. U-S-E-R. U-S-E-R. Not even capitals, nothing. Set the password. And we're going to say, okay, Oh, wait, privileges. Let's do privileges. So you can do data entry, which is fine because now they can actually add stuff to it, and they can actually use the stuff, and that's what we want. We want people to have data entry. So and then we're going to click OK, and then full access 1 2 3 4 5. Remember that? Oh no, full access account. Confirm this. Caution. So here we were admin. And we tab 1 2 3 4 5. Be like, okay. It just wants admin to confirm the fact that you actually made those changes. And now, if we log out of the system, it will tell us that we have to log back into the system. And so if we close the window and we got back into it, it'd say, please log in. So if you log in under our username, which is user, then you're going to have limited access. You're not going to be able to get to everything in your file. And this is where the difference between admin and the difference between regular people really takes effect, or our end users, or our people that we've hired to use our system. So I hope that I've answered any questions about the security part. The security part, basically what that does is you're limiting other people from having full access to your solution. So I hope I've answered that correctly, or enough for you. So now we are still in exit. Let's go to, oh, this is the one where we are on invoice 1. Yes, we are invoice 1. And our invoice number is 2021. So admin, it does nothing, right? So we actually have to go 1 2 3 4. I'm pretty sure. And now we have our daily sales button. Admin is, you're not allowed to do that. Okay, so this is the sales report we were talking about. Remember the sales report? So every time that we push the button here, here's all of our invoices. So we have 9, 10, 2002, 3. And notice how they're just kind of all scattered all over the place from different days. So 6/5, 6/12, 7/10, and then today's at 2020. But as we went on through this and we've started utilizing it correctly, we've got one here that's duplicated, 15 and 15, 17, 18, 19. So now if we use it a dozen times, let's go back to our menu button. Menu takes us out to here. So now if we do Jawbreaker, soda, invoice, cash, verify, we're on 22, menu, candies, 2 Jawbreakers. We're just adding things really quick so that we can make sure that our numbers are correct. Two sodas, cash, 23, verify, menu, candies. And all we have is 2 products right now, so that's all we can deal with. Okay, so now if I go to the admin section here, and I go to our daily sales, because you've got to keep adding all these passwords into there, right? And now if we go to our daily sales, we see that we have invoice 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. Once you start using it, you're back. My cat came in while you were eating. Oh, okay. I'm out there. And so now you see is as we started using it, our numbers are all laying right on top of each other. They're making absolute sense. Now, they weren't before because we were kind of all over the map. And we were doing all kinds of things, and we were dismissing them. And notice if you dismiss one, it was also eradicating the invoice number, which is, I'm not sure why it was doing that, but apparently in our dismiss, manage scripts. And maybe it'd be better just to go to the invoice. Let's just go to our menu. Entry menu, exit. Now if we go to register 1 and we go to our invoice, and if we go to dismiss, let's do this. Let's find out, what did I write in the dismiss? Dismiss invoice. So if I click on dismiss invoice, you haven't went to sleep yet? Oh my goodness, I would be just like, I need sleep really bad, to be honest with you. I am at the bottom end of my ability right now. Okay, so if is empty, the override show custom dialog, unauthorized access. Okay, that was our private thing. And then if register override, then we set the variable attempt. Okay, so this is the security part that we did, right? We set the field, new record, go to layout, security data, set field, security logs. Yep, more security logs, and then we halt the script. But if we're dismissing it, the funny thing that we're doing here is we're also eliminating an invoice number. And so somewhere in this field, set register override, somewhere in this value, what we need to do is we need to go into our daily sales report, and we need to make sure that we have that invoice number and that invoice number ends up in the right place. So here it says, we go to the layout, sales report, daily, new record request, set the field, daily sales, invoice number to invoice. Well, why is it not doing that? Because that would be pretty amazing. So freeze window, if is empty, register override. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to set a variable, and that variable needs to be invoice, and that needs to be the invoice ID. And then, so if register override is not equal to 1, 2, 3, then we're going to set this all up. Okay, so if is empty, register override, show custom dialog, and if. Set field, set variable, invoice. Wonder why this one's not working here. Invoice value, register ID. Oh, because we're doing register ID and not invoice ID. There's the problem right there. Is Josh back? Yes, he is back. What will Andrew stream? I'm not sure what Andrew will stream today. So here, this is where we did it. Our register ID is incorrect. It doesn't need to be register ID. It needs to be invoice ID. So if we just click on this, we can press the delete button and get rid of it. And it's gone. So be careful if you do stuff like that. Set field, daily invoice number, invoice, set field, dismissed, commit records request, no dialog, no new record request, halt script. There we go. So now it should give us the invoice number if we make a mistake. So Control S to save that, and we will call that good. Now if we exit this layout and we go to our menu and we go to our candies and we buy a couple of candies and we go to our invoice and we dismiss it, it's going to say authorized persons only, right? So we have to press in 1, 2, 3, 4, then dismiss it. Now if we go to 1, 2, 3, 4, we go to our admin selection, we go to our daily sales. I'm not used to having to do all this stuff because mine, I actually have it where it I'm not sure what Josh is going to stream, to be honest with you. I have absolutely no clue. I'm going to assume he's going to do Borderlands today. That's my own personal thought, because I know tomorrow he wants to he's doing Destiny 2, or he wants to do Destiny 2, or he's something with Destiny 2. So now if we go down here we have it dismissed, and there is our number. Perfect. So now that works. And there's no money in there. And if we go to... The funny thing is we never set this up, did we? We haven't yet set this up, because these should tell us, if we click on this, it should take us to the invoice. So he will. Yes, Josh will stream. Is Josh back? Yes, he is. Will Josh stream? I'm reading a chat window, by the way. Yes, Josh will stream today. Yes, he will. So this was actually supposed to be... Oh, this is daily sales admin. Okay. I wanted this to be a blue color. And I guess we could... No, we don't need to underline or under. We don't need to. But I do want to set a button up. And I think it's a single step or perform script. Sort inventory, dismiss invoice, security. Okay, so there's two different ways of doing this, and it used to be where you could just go to... Let's cancel. Sometimes you can just do the go to... Either go to the object, go to the previous field, go to the record request or page, go to related record. From table unknown, using current layout unknown. Cancel, so we don't want that. Let's delete that. Go to record request or page. Go to record. That's not going to work either. Let's just say go to layout. Oop. See what happens. Because if I remember correctly, this should do it. So if we click it, nope, not going to do it. Not going to take us there. So you can actually create a program. Kill those shortkeys, yes. So I will show you a script really super quick as to what we can actually do with this that works beautifully so that you can actually go from your admin page. You can go to this particular instance. So our invoice number is the key. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually tell it to cancel that. We want this to perform a script. And we want a new script. And we're going to call this new script post invoice. Okay, so the very first thing is I have this horrible headache for some weird reason this morning. So the very first thing that we want to do is we want to go to, I think the very first thing we should do is obviously set a variable, and that variable needs to be the invoice number. And that is going to be the invoice number on that page that we're currently on. And then we need to go to our invoice page or our invoice layout. Oop. Clicking on the wrong thing, folks. So if we go to the layout, and that layout is going to be the invoice, should be invoice register. I believe, I'm pretty positive. You know what's funny is I could have swore that I wrote this, and that's what's going through my brain. I could have swore I wrote this earlier. And now we need to enter find mode. And you don't need to pause, so you can just unclick to pause. And then we will set a field. And that field is going to be the specify target field. Is in invoice or register. Gosh, I can't remember. You know, let's find out what we need to do. So let's just Control S this, and we'll call it good for now, and we'll just go in and fix it here in just a second. So if we go to our invoice, here we are. So if we go to invoice and we go to invoice ID and we double click it, it tells us what it is. Current table register invoice ID. It'll also tell us here register invoice ID. Okay, Baltharian, thank you very much. So here we now know exactly what field it is. So it's register ID. If you write that down, of course I don't know why, but my brain is just off today by a little bit. But register and then invoice ID. Now we kind of know what field it is that we're actually looking to be in. And also, if you look at here, the layout is invoice, and it's under the table register. So that should work. Now let's go back to our thing that we were doing in admin. So here, we're going to type in 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll go to admin really quick. Type in another 1, 2, 3, 4. Go to daily sales. Edit the layout. Here. And now if we just click on post invoice, it'll just bring it right up. So go to layout invoice register. Enter find mode, set field. So our target field is going to be under the register. And then that register is going to be invoice ID. And the calculator result is going to be $invoice. Oop, learn how to spell. And call that good. And it should be exactly the same as what it is right there. So we click off, it'll say register invoice ID set to invoice. And then we'll tell it to perform the find. Oop. Perform will find. And that will take us straight to where we want to be. Now the problem with this is that if you do this, you're going to end up there, and if you press the button, if you press the menu button after that, you'll carry that invoice number with you wherever you go. So you want to make sure that you can't, or that you don't do anything other than, because you're admin, that you don't do anything other than go back to admin after the fact. Because if you go into, oh gosh, this is just going to make such a headache, isn't it? So now you can basically do a halt script here. Okay. Exit layout. So now if you go here, it'll take us straight to it. But if you press this menu button, you're going to carry this invoice number with you when you go there. You're back. All right. Hey, great. So how do we fix that? How do we get rid of that? If we go 1, 2, 3, 4, let's go back to our admin. Let's do this. Let's go to menu and just go to invoice. Dang it, it carried us straight to the invoice. 2002. As we get through this, we're gonna just dismiss it. So 2027. So now we're on a blank one. We have timestamp, we have pending. We could use this pending window. We could use the pending window. So let me see. We don't have to use the pending window. We can, the timestamp, I don't know what the deal with the timestamp is. But it's register pending ID. So what we could do is we could go back into our deal, pending ID. Okay. We can say that if the pending ID number, I did write this script because we were talking about doing this for pending. I totally remember. That's the reason why we added it. You're the only, oh yes, Beltarian, thank you very much. You probably are. Not many people watch me live stream this because they're busy and they're all over the world, because it's during business hours when people are actually running their businesses. So not a lot of people watch me live stream, and they'll catch me later. That's why you'll see some of my videos have, you know, a couple thousand views on them and some of them don't. They're basically designed for people who need to know this information, small business owners. It's a tutorial system. So let's go into this menu button. I think that's what we need to do, is we need to look at this menu button. What? Come on up. Perform script, go to menu. So here is where we need to really fabricate this intellectual blah blah blah, right? Because if the pending, you can do, guys, there's so many things you can do with this. So set variable invoice value register invoice ID vape shop. Yes, I actually do own a vapor store. Yes. How'd you know that? Is it printed somewhere, or did I just say that out loud? I probably said it out loud, didn't I? I don't know why my gamer tag was up there. I'm just gonna get rid of that. Okay, so very first thing we need to do is we need to set an if statement. If, and that if statement, this, I need this to move. Okay, so if, and we're on register, so if register pending ID, so hi CK, how are you? Your first video. Yes, one of my first videos. I've been doing this for a long time, actually, so. so let's do if not. Let's just go back. Okay, so if not, we're going to select the not, because then it sets the exact right number of spaces. So if not, and we're going to do is empty, and the field is going to be pending ID. I don't want to have if statements within if statements within if statements. So I'm not doing CK, I'm not doing Garden Warfare 2. My plan was to do Assassin's Creed Unity today. I was going to do Garden Warfare the other day, but I fell with a pretty bad headache after the whole Andrew thing. And so I didn't get a chance to actually do videos on Saturday or Sunday. So I was kind of like, I was out in the deal. So, okay. Let's do this. Let's set this up completely different. Let's cancel this. So let's cancel that. Now, so let's just do this. If pending ID is equal to, and we're going to set in parentheses admin, this is going to work out the best. So if it's equal to admin, then we're going to tell it to go right back to the admin page, right? Then we're going to be like, go to layout. And we're going to move it up here. And we're going to say this layout will be, do you guys remember which one we were on? Daily sales. Sales report. I think we're a sales report, right? Okay. So sales report, daily sales. We're going to use specific T. Why did you yesterday you didn't make a stream? I did not make a stream, and I just answered that question. Yes, Baltharian, that's what I'm going to play as Unity today. So what we're going to do here is Josh is going to stream here, yes, and Andrew is going to stream in 1 hour. Well, actually less than an hour. It's probably about half an hour now. So if it's admin, then we'll do that. That's a wise choice. And then if, let's go back and let's do another if statement. If register pending ID is equal to pending You know, we could have just, let's just do this. Let's back up. Is equal to this. Then we'll just type in pending. Then we'll be go to. It's so much easier to do this when you're writing it instead of like if we had thought of this, pre-thought of this, and not basically had to go back and redo the whole thing. So this one we will do, we'll go back to, I think there should be a pending invoice. Pending. So go back to pending. So wherever you come from and you're looking at this invoice, then it'll just take you back out. So let's try this. Set variable invoice, register invoice ID, go to category page menu, num-block invoice, blah, blah, blah. Okay. As long as that's not... So let's make a circle. Let's make a circle. So we'll exit the layout, and we're at 27. Okay? We're at 27. Now we're going to go to our main menu. We're still at 27. And from here, of course, from here I can't actually go to the I can go back to the invoice, and we're still at 27. I can type in 1, 2, 3, 4, go to admin, 1, 2, 3, 4, go to daily sales. Now I want to post invoice, and so D22 set variable. Daily invoice. Oh, there's Andrew now. Okay. So we set this invoice number. You know, we could just recreate the invoice number and set it in a different slot, and then when we exit, we go back, whatever. But that's fine. So we're gonna set field. So right after this, then we perform find. So then it takes us there, right? So now what we have to do is we have to set a field. And that field needs to be in register. I'm not really in the pending ID. And the calculator result is going to be, we're just going to do this. Do you guys remember if it was admin like this? I'm pretty positive it was. Call it good. Oh, you know what's funny is it's not going to clear the admin. Well, tell Andrew you said hi, Valtharian. There you go. I just told him. Okay, so just let me finish up with this really quick. So if we do that, it's going to set the field to admin. You guys remember we're on 27. I'm going to click this. It's going to take me to 15. See how it took me to 15? It added the word admin right here. So now I need to edit the layout because I want to make positive that this is correct. And see, it says they're admin. But what do we need to add here? We need to add a set field, right? Because we need to make sure that we've cleared our field. So we're going to specify the field, and that is going to be our pending ID field, and our calculated result is going to be clearing it. We're just going to do that. We're going to go here. We're going to set the field, and that field is going to be the pending ID, and our calculated result is the quotation marks, which will clear it. Okay. So now we will exit the layout. Exit layout. Okay, so here we are. Now if we press menu, Tim, but how is admin when you finish? Tim, but how do you get then admin when you are finished? Well, let's see what happens. So here we're on 15, right? We're going to go back. The operation cannot be completed because the target is not part of a related table. Aha! We did something wrong. Menu. It won't let me go to menu. Candies. Invoice. It's still on 15 because it didn't carry the number. It didn't keep the number. So I will figure that out, and I will fix it, and I will make sure that we get it absolutely correct. But that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to create a system where we can maintain the data that we have, but we can go look at old data without actually duplicating or replicating that data, which is kind of funny because we should be able to open in a window. I think that's where I should do that. I should, instead of going to, so that's food for thought. So let's do that. Let's work on that too, because we can actually open that up in a whole new window and then just close the window, and we don't have to worry about it. We didn't do anything, right? Instead of actually going to the program and doing that, we can just open it up. All right. Hey, thanks everybody for watching. I hope you guys have a great day. I will see you later. This is obviously my private stream, so I will see you guys on Luculent Media, just up above, here in a little bit, and we will talk to you guys on the other side of the world. I don't know, but hey, I hope I've been some help. If I have, leave me a like, share my video, let people know what you're doing, where you're going. Have any questions, please make sure you add them down. I have answered every single question anyone has ever sent me. So please make sure that you do that, and we will see you guys later. Bye, guys.